What is up, Robot Wars, BattleBots, and Bugglebots fans alike? Hardcore Hit Kid here with another episode of the Hardcore Podcast. Joining me as always, I have Otaku Nate.
Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll drink to that because I've got myself a beer in front of me, so I'll try my best not to slur my words.
Oh, beer, huh? Are you ready for a little bit of the bubbly?
I am on a little bit of the bubbly.
Speaking of bubbly, we're going to talk a little bugly with Heat 4 of Bugglebots 2019, and joining us, we have the actual Heat winner of Bugglebots Heat 4, and it is none other than Other Nate Franklin.
Hello, good to be here.
How's it going, Nate?
I'm all right. It's nice to be back on the podcast and I get to talk about myself because I need to talk about myself or else I go insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty.
I need to talk to myself, otherwise I go insane.
Yeah, I'm listening to two Nates right now, but so last year you were only in the whiteboard matches, and this year now you're a full-time Bugglebots competitor. How do you feel?
It's been a really surreal experience because, I mean, this is the first time I've ever actually been in the public spotlight. Like, people are now actually talking about my bot and I. I know I got my first really angry comment, which was hilarious. And I don't know, it's amazing. Like people now know what Thunderchild is. They don't just, like, this is the most views my robot has actually gotten in a video before. It's pretty amazing.
Please do tell about this hateful comment.
I have it. I posted on my Facebook page. Someone was like, "Well, I have it." There's two of them. One of them was Thunderchild, owned by a man-child. One, they had no business beating Daedalus. God, WEDGE suck. Then the first one was, okay.
Don't do that.
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Fuck WEDGE.
Are you sure this isn't Charlie on one of his sock puppet accounts?
Now that you mention it, I'm not gonna what's the term? I'm not gonna rule that out.
Yeah, so some people don't like wedges, and as BattleBots has shown, they don't like wedges either. But
yeah,
and I understand where they're coming from, since it's basically a wedge that isn't really capable of getting any damage as much as just aggression points. Like,
yeah,
like we all remember one of the most infamous wedge bots of them all is Storm 2. And when Series 7 came and they won the New Blood tournament, and really the only weapon they had was the wedge, and then that they had to put on a weapon for Series 7, which was the flipper, which they used, but then when they had that one match that they didn't use it, along came Stormgate. But and I don't know, like, depending on if you have like a really fast, powerful robot that can put on a good show, it doesn't matter if your robot isn't destructive or not. And like, I've seen Thunderchild in a lot of matches. I like, some of my favorite Thunderchild matches are the ones against Silent Spring.
Yeah, they've been really good.
Just watching the two bots clash into each other, some of the loudest hits I think I've ever heard. It makes for good matches. And
Well, we kind of had Thunderchild versus Silent Spring in this episode, and you took all the words out of my mouth as to how I feel about wedges. I enjoy a good wedge bot.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. I know people don't like wedges, and that's fine. They can think whatever they want, but I just try my best to put on a good show whenever possible.
Now you do have different varieties of wedges. You had like the scoop, the forks, and the deep tooth things. Have you ever thought of maybe making any new attachments?
Probably just more forks. I feel like the way the meta is in both the US and the UK, there's really nothing else that I can use aside from having a wedge for horizontal spinners and forks for that suit different opponents, but other than that, nothing at the moment.
Nate, Otaku Nate, do you have any other questions for Other Nate?
I just want to know what your experience at Bugglebots this year was like, because now you're a full-time competitor. You aren't just here with another team. So, like, what was it like getting there, arriving at the arena and that stuff?
Well, so it was like now the second time I've flown to the UK on my own. I took all the public transportation to get there, and I don't know, it felt more familiar because it was basically the same venue, although a different part of the University of West England. But no, when I got there, I mean, I recognized most of the people there because there are people I've known online, and then there are people I met last year. So it was more of the familiar. Although it was, now I had the experience of having cameras pointed at my face, like doing the pre and post match interviews. Those were really neat, and just all the like sort of, I guess, movie magic where they just like they'll if one of us messes up, then they'll like redo it, but they'll remember to do it with like a different camera angle, so it looks like it's all, or that nothing was like edited out. So it's very interesting, and
Wonderful.
I'm glad I did it.
Now, last year Captain Doom was almost MIA. You didn't have any problems this year, right?
On the way back, yeah, but on the way here, it was I didn't run into any issues because I think their issue was they had a layover in Amsterdam, so I think that was probably why. But I just took a flight directly to London and then took the train down to Bristol.
And yeah, there was a story. You said you almost lost it coming back, right? Your gear. Yeah. What happened with that?
My flight got canceled, so I had to take a flight because my flight was originally going to be just Heathrow to Philadelphia. I did take a flight from Heathrow to I forget if it was Dallas. I think Dallas, and then I had to take another flight back to Philadelphia. So it was just a mess. And
Oof.
By the time I got there, got home. I just wanted to go to bed.
I can imagine, but your bot arrived home safely and everything went good.
Yeah, a few days later, I picked it up at the airport.
That's good. All right, so so we'll review Heat 4, which was the heat you were in, and whew, what a heat this was. And we'll start off with the first match, and we'll start off with please keep in mind I am terrible at pronouncing names, words, and other creations, but we'll talk. The first robot of this heat is Daedalus.
Oh, it's Daedalus.
Daedalus.
Spinner.
And I've seen videos of fights of this bot in action. What a beast this thing is.
Yeah.
I would love for Cosmin to come to the U.S. to fight some events.
Yeah. Well, with the Norwalk Havoc event taking off, we might see him over here ripping bots up. And, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this thing, what do you? It's just like very powerful. It's not like it's a direct drive driven blade where the motor is actually built into the weapon, which I think is a really cool touch. And I'm disappointed that it only made it to the second round because this thing could be a grand finalist. It could even be a Bugglebots champion. Just looking at it.
The fact that it has its motor inside the weapon is perhaps one of the greatest ideas of engineering we see in this competition. Because the problem with building horizontal spinners is that oftentimes the weapon belt is vulnerable, as we saw with Carbide, or on occasion,
Tombstone.
And Tombstone. Yeah, let's not forget what happened with Tombstone. Or as you saw in your fight with Short Circuit, the pulley's vulnerable. So. If you hit the pulley in the right way, the thing just shatters.
Yeah.
I will never forget that fight, by the way, at Bot Blast when you absolutely obliterated Short Circuit.
Yeah.
Or was it Circuit Breaker?
Oh yeah,
Circuit Breaker. Circuit Breaker. Yeah, but he got his revenge at the Ohio event. He just hit me and just completely took my wheel off. But yeah, those things they're tough. They're it's like I've always broken a lot of magnets because Mondo Bizarro uses one too, but. Those magnets like crack a lot just because of those big hits, but with
how do they work?
Yeah, really. But with Daedalus, it kept taking all those hits and it just kept going. Like the weapon just would not stop.
I think that's what's most fearsome about Daedalus is that, compared to most horizontal spinners, the thing is an absolute tank. Because the only way you can really defeat it is to get to the wheels. And even then, those are very close to the robot. And as Rera mentioned when we had her on, he's never going to give you his vulnerable spot. If he's showing you the rear of the robot, that's not a sign of weakness. It's a taunt.
Now, other Nate, you fought a lot of big horizontals like Silent Spring and Circuit Breaker. How does Daedalus rank up with those spinners?
Daedalus hits harder than all of them.
Wow.
It's direct drives. There's no what's the word? It's like as when the motor spins, the bar spins, so it's spinning as fast as the motor is spinning. There's no gearing on that. It is insane. Cosmin is an amazing engineer, and Daedalus is a testament to his building abilities. I know I saw he went to an event earlier with it and went undefeated, and now, or for Bugglebots, he I believe he made his drivetrain more reliable and he reduced his spin up time. Obviously, the biggest weakness with the direct drive horizontal is that the spin up time isn't as quick as having a belt driven weapon, but it's still an amazing design. Like the gearboxes, the custom gearboxes he made are beautiful. He is, in my opinion, probably the best Beetle builder in the United Kingdom.
Wow. Yeah, it's a good bot, and it's a shame it went out so early, but they do go into the second chance rumble, and hopefully we'll see how he does there. But we'll talk about his first opponent, which was against the absolute tank, Claws 2.
Claws 2. Gripper. It's the same robot as last year.
It's got a little bit more upgrades to it. The claws are bigger.
It's only, but the upgrades are very much superficial, as Chris talked about in his interview.
Yeah, but it's really it is a solid bot. Although, especially, and you really got to give the team props for being able to put it back together after Daedalus just took it apart.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was gonna say that.
What do you think of Claws 2 as a bot?
I think Claws 2 is a pretty, it's not. Like, if you look at it, you don't think it's much, but as we saw, last year, it is able to put up a damn good fight, and Felicity is an amazing driver, and honestly, I'm really excited to see what they come up with should Bugglebots have a third season. I think Chris has definitely learned a lot from the 2 years of competing in all the other events outside of Bugglebots, so I think he can come up with something pretty good that'll do well.
Yep, so the first match, we got to see the absolute fury that was Daedalus, just smacking into Claws 2 with the blade, and then just mangling the claws, and then, I don't know what the heck happened, but they managed to rip the whole side off, and the battery, it's like the battery stayed in one part of the arena, and the whole robot went in the other.
And that right there is our first John Reed good hit of the night.
Yeah, there's quite a few in this episode, that's for sure. Yeah, Nate, what'd you think of this match?
Which one?
Other Nate.
Oh, well, it was brutal. I remember because the way the filming worked, it was that fight, then mine, and then the one with the Berg. So I was waiting. I was waiting in the pits, and I found out, it's time to go. I'm like, wow, it was over that early. I watched Chris and Felicity bring their bot out, and there's the lipo. He's carrying the bot, and then he's carrying the lipo. I'm like, wait, what? It lasted. It was brutal. I felt so bad, but luckily, I guess Felicity doesn't have to worry because she doesn't have to repair it. So, but then Chris just took it back to his pit table, immediately got to work putting it together.
What was the extent of the damage? Was it just the battery flew out and the side panel flew off, or was it more internally? Do you know?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was mainly like the frame just got like or some like important frame pieces I think were deformed because obviously when UHMW HDPE takes a lot of hits, it deforms. So that I think allowed it to the screws to pop out, and that's what made the battery eject.
Yeah, it was tough, but fortunately, Clause 2 were able to come back for the three-way rumble. But yep, Daedalus gets the win and goes on to the second round. And now, Nate, we move on to your match against the evil pink axe creation known as Hello There.
Hello there, Axebot. And for good measure, Thunderchild, Wedge,
or bot kits. Just to get that out of the way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna thank you for commenting on the decals on top.
Oh yeah, that's some people want me to paint it, but I think the kits bots and then the udder gun sticker like give it enough personality that I don't think paint job is necessary.
So about this fight, I don't think this was as I don't think you expected this fight to be this hard.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely went into it underestimating them, and they did give me a good scare towards the beginning of the fight. And I don't think they expected the fight to last that long either.
I'll say this about Hello There. It's certainly a durable machine.
Yeah.
Is it made of wood?
It's HDPE, but just spray painted.
Sorry, but the texture from afar makes it look like wood.
Nah, I could see that.
I gotta say, like, as far as Axebots goes, it's definitely the most consistent or the most effective.
Also, I said this last episode. Anyone look at this thing and think Killertron?
Kinda, yeah, I did.
You
Yeah,
just
kinda.
put like the little yellow prickles on there, and you've got beetle weight Killertron.
Yeah, like as far as like Hammerbots really aren't that like effective. Like I going in, I knew that thing wasn't going to do any damage to Thunderchild, but if you're able to get enough like hits in, like get enough hits in on the top, you can still get a lot of points. It's like it's like UFC where you might not be able to be doing like physical damage to the guy, but you're still able to get a lot of jabs in.
Yeah, I was thinking about that actually, and I was because I at the first event I ever went to, I fought a little like it bought there like a little hammer, and I thought and I beat it by borrowing a piece of titanium from another builder and using like an appendage as a keep away stick, and I briefly considered doing that for Thunderchild, but I decided against it because then I wouldn't be able to get underneath it because it would be longer than the scoops. Or the fork. So but I'm still happy with the performance, and I think I'm glad it wasn't too one-sided, you know.
Yeah, because the best matches to me are always like just two bots just going at each other, just pushing each other around, slamming into each other. And you said yourself you don't want wedge fights to be boring, and this was not a boring wedge fight. There were some good slams in there, some hits that were actually shaking the camera. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And we also can't forget the little mini bot split decision that was in there.
What on earth was that thing? Like this little mini Gabriel?
I think, I think that's supposed to be an axe. I thought it was a pizza cutter at one point that was on there, just flailing around. But
looks more like it had pizza cutters for wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool, but eventually, after a pushing fight, said hello there to the pit of oblivion, and Thunderchild wins the match and goes on to the second round. And now we move on to the third and final of the first round matches, and it's Annie, Are You Okay versus Two Berg, Too Furious, Tokyo Drift, fate of... Let's talk about Two Berg first.
Too Bag, Too Furious. Meme bot.
All right, time to get my anger out of the way first. I had you know me, I am 130% accurate with my predictions. And my predictions were that Berg, Too Furious would would make it to the Heat final to face Thunderchild. Thunderchild would get the win, but then Nate would damage the arena, thus giving Berg the win. And apparently there was the conspiracies from last year appear to have gone over to this year, because I'm looking at Berg's wiki page right now, and it says that it lost this match. I don't know. What are you talking about? That should be fixed. That is clearly an error. They clearly won this match over Annie. Are you?
Yeah, with all the holograms.
What is going on here? Is Arnold Rimmer in the arena? Yeah. So, I feel a part of me really loves seeing just Charlie, and the other guy's name is Aaron, I believe.
Aaron, yeah.
Yep.
Aaron's the straight man, and Charlie's Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah. Then what does that make Tim?
I want to say Tim's Gorilla Monsoon, because Gorilla Monsoon, in spite of what you might have seen of him, he was a pretty big guy.
And it also makes sense since he was on the Monsoon team. Yeah, yeah, but it's such a shame because Berg, Too Furious is a really good drum bot, I think.
Yeah, it was. I know. I remember I forget specifically what happened. I think the Spinner Proof podcast covered it. But they had to completely rebuild it because it wouldn't spin up. So I remember because they were like a pit table over from mine, and they were just like using every tool they had, taking it apart, putting it back together. So it was a real uphill battle for them to get it into the arena after the safety check.
Yep, and then. And then they ended up getting retired, unfortunately, by the terrifying face of Annie, are you okay?
Annie, are you okay? Smooth criminal.
Yeah. Going in, I wasn't you know what the spot actually reminds me of? The Viper kits with the undercutter blades on them.
Yeah. I'm now totally now that you mention it, that totally makes a lot of sense.
And it's surprisingly effective, but it's just a shame that I think reliability just kind of dropped on it, because I believe it lost the weapon belt in the second round, and that's why the weapon stopped.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's a shame because if you get past the face, it's a cool looking little bot. And it completely de-wheeled Berg, unfortunately. But yeah, what do you think of Annie? Are you okay, Nate? Otaku Nate.
Well, it certainly is a very dangerous robot. In fact, you could say that she drives me wild. But yeah, most of its fights were in fact thrillers. Thrillers. But But I gotta say, I really enjoyed Annie, Are You Okay? Kind of a shame that they went out in the second round, because they certainly had an off-the-wall performance.
Yeah, gotta be.
Those guys were probably working day and night on that robot.
They're living dangerously. But
they certainly didn't stop until they got enough. That's for sure.
Are you trying to rival Jonathan Pierce with how many song references you can get into one thing?
No, I'm trying to rival Steven Sub with all the Michael Jackson references.
Oh, dear Lord. Yeah, but if I didn't realize it was a Michael Jackson reference, I'd have no idea how you'd be able to pronounce this name just looking at the battle board. It looks like it says Annie Oruk.
Annie Ruok.
Annie Ruok.
Yeah. But the match was, it managed to get some hits in on Berg, and was Charlie driving Berg, or was it Aaron this time? I think it was Charlie.
Charlie was driving for the first match, and then Aaron drove the second match.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it was Charlie's driving or Berg was just having some kind of gremlins. Although I do hear that that there is a candid photo of Tim trying to sabotage Berg, and put some stuff in it, trying to make it not work, because
Can we just talk about how that incredibly cheesy restraining order Charlie had with him?
Yeah.
That was written in Comic Sans.
Comic Sans.
Yeah, that was. I'm really upset. I didn't get a picture of it because it was Well, it was obviously it was beautiful because of how ugly it looked.
and it has a picture of Tim back when he had a full head of hair. It's like. I have noticed.
He looks better now than he did a decade ago with that hair.
I have noticed. What's with all the young Tim shirts I've seen going around? Because Johan, the Hold My Beer guy, had one. I believe.
It's Jerome.
Jerome. Yeah, and he had a shirt, a young Tim shirt, and someone else had a young Tim shirt last year.
Tim was wearing a young Tim shirt.
Is there a store? Is there a Monsoon? Are they selling shirts with Tim's face on them somewhere, or are they just printing them out? Any idea?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I'm assuming just some inside joke.
Yeah, I'd imagine you guys would buy one. No.
Nah. Too many people would be. I'd have to explain to too many people who this young person on my T-shirt is, and like what the significance of everything. What the significance of it is.
I'll just say this: one of my coworkers recognized my Monsoon T-shirt at work.
Awesome. Yeah, but yeah, that covers the first round matches. Daedalus, Thunderchild, and Annie, Are You Okay? Go through to round 2. And now we get the losers melee of Claws 2, Hello There, and Berg 2 Furious.
Oh, this was fun.
Oh, just at long last, Berg comes out and just unleashes hell on everybody, flipping bots into the air.
It actually did stuff.
It did stuff. Yes, it was glorious. So many big hits, and then the drum just kind of stopped. I guess they lost the belt.
It looks like they lost the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Hello There got flipped upside down, and I guess the axe broke. That's why they weren't able to self-right, because they came out after the match, and you could see the axe is just in 2 separate pieces. It's a shame, but hey, the Spinnerproof guys, I have actually listened to their recent review, and they're fun guys, and it's cool to see them with the bot and see them competing. And,
hey, maybe we'll get in next year.
I'm trying. My New Year's resolution for this year is to build my own bot. It's going to be a drum spinner like Mondo, except I'm going to protect the wheels better. Since
okay.
Yeah, and maybe I'll put a lance on it or something. Since that seems to be a meta, just sticking a lance.
Putting
on
on
bot.
one of the pokey sticks, I call them.
Yep. So it's down to Claws 2 and Berg 2 Furious. Claws 2's a mess at this point, so it looks like it's going to be Berg's match. And then full read sets in.
And he drives into the pit. I laughed so hard when that happened.
I simultaneously screamed, "No!" and also fell out of my chair laughing at this. It's like, what are you doing?
Never change, Charlie. Never change.
Except this was Aaron driving.
Oh, that makes it worse.
Oh, maybe the conspiracy continues. Maybe Aaron was in cahoots with the Claws 2 team this entire time.
This match and, well, both of Berg's matches, I specifically chose not to watch because you could either, you could go in the audience and there's a live feed from the pits, or live feed there's like a projector in the pits. I chose to not watch. I mean, obviously I was there, but I didn't want to see the post-match interviews because I wanted to go in completely blind with how Charlie and Aaron's antics were going to be. Like, I knew that there was the restraining order, but I had no idea what else was going to happen. So I'm so glad I got to see it like for the first time, just like everyone else who's regular viewers.
Yeah, and that's what made just Charlie and Aaron's banter the entire time is just great, and seeing Tim throwing them out, it's awesome. And
we don't deserve those guys.
We don't. we really don't.
No. But in the end, Claws 2 ended up getting the win because even though it looked like they were about to be counted out, but then they moved ever so slightly as the Berg went into the pit. So I guess that's why Claus got the win. So yeah, and now we move on to the second rounds, and this match: Thunderchild versus Daedalus.
Nate will give you the floor.
Yes.
I mean, well, I was talking to Cosmin, the builder, earlier before we got the draw, and he's like, yeah, I'm pretty confident against everything, but Thunderchild is the one bot I don't want to face.
Wow.
And then, like, to find out, oh, you're in the same heat as Thunderchild, and you get to fight him in the second round, it's like, oops.
Yeah.
So I remember I was watching the live chat, and as soon as it did the transition, where it shows the two competing bots, people were like, oh crap. Like, no one was expecting it to be a second round fight. This fight was the one fight I was really excited. Like, I had to wait like 5 months so that you could finally see this fight. Like, honestly, one of my favorite fights of my entire career. It was just insane.
Did you ever think you'd get an OOTA?
I don't know. I knew he was going to just bounce around the arena. I was so in the zone that I didn't realize he went out of the arena until everyone like gasped. And then I turned to the corner of my eye I saw in the corner of my eye that he was in the out of the arena zone. And if you watch like afterwards the view from like where the drivers are, you could see I'm like freaking out because I still can't process
I saw
it.
that like Nathan is confused.
I thought you were gonna smack the arena again.
Well, I'm pretty sure I did bang the left hand. It just didn't show up because I'm like sort of off to the side because I'm doing the Daniel Freitas angle where I'm leaning.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and a part of me is disappointed that it wasn't the Heat final because
I think a lot of people are, which I think it would have been a great way to end the episode, but nothing more we could have done.
No. It's all the luck of the draw. How is the draw decided anyway? Someone just flips a coin and decides who fights in the second rounds, or?
I know that it's if they have it preset, but so it can be influenced by who wins the losers rumble, so that they don't fight the same bot twice. So if Berg won, it wouldn't fight Andy. It would fight either me or Daedalus. And if Hello There won, it would have fought Annie or Daedalus. So,
yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, this match, this is my pick for match of the year so far. And
well, there's still so more to come. The grand final. Every fight in the grand final was insane.
Wow. Ooh,
oh boy. Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yep, and also the OOTA does get my pick for John Reed Good Hit of the Night.
Yeah, that's my pick too. Just I looked at that and I just went, "What?"
You didn't expect it to happen.
No.
Although one of my favorite parts is when Daedalus is like bounced off the wall, bounces right over the pit like it's defying gravity.
Oh,
that was
yes.
That was beautiful.
Yes.
That was
It was glorious. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And but in the end, there could be only one, and it was Thunderchild.
The reception to that fight was better than I expected. I mean, sometimes the robot combat fandom can like get a bit upset, which whatever. That's fine. But the overwhelming positivity towards that fight was wonderful. Like, the chat was going wild during the live showing. My parents, who saw it for the first time, were like freaking out because they were like, "Whoa!"
My parents laughed out loud at the finale.
It was fun. Yeah, and I think a lot of the other Roboteers were, in a way, a little bit relieved that you took Daedalus out, because honestly, if there was any design that was going to take Daedalus out, it was going to be that big plow and Thunderchild, and that's what it did. So, yeah, Thunderchild through to the Heat final. Daedalus goes through to the Second Chance Rumble, which, if you've seen the list for the Second Chance Rumble, what a beast that's going to be. All those bots. So,
yeah, can I just say my hot take right now?
Go ahead.
I I don't think Daedalus is gonna win that Rumble.
I think it might, but
Well, you look at the robots that it's gonna have to go through in that one. You've got a ring spinner with Halo. You've got Sir Lancefrog, which is a wedge, and we all know that wedges love horizontal spinners. You've got Geared Down for What, which is, of course, an absolutely insane robot. You've got another ring spinner in YO. You've got the Apprentice, and you've got Unconscious 514 that can tank that blade. And you've also got Annie, Are You Okay?, which is going to be gunning for its wheels. I think that Daedalus is going to have a big target painted on it in that melee. And usually whenever a robot has a big target on it, it doesn't make it through. See Chaos 2 and the Annihilator.
Yeah, we'll find out. It might be a wedge might win, or Daedalus might overcome the wedges, so we'll have to wait and see.
I can't say anything about it, but
no spoilers.
But it's one hell of a fight. What is it? The Rumblebee were all amazing fights. Like there's going to be like the top 10. Like I know that one YouTuber, I forget the name, is going to do the top 10
NJGW.
Yeah.
NJGW.
I'm expecting them to do like have both of those Rumbles in the list. Obviously, I don't want to. Obviously, it's their choice, but I think the fans and viewers are going to go wild for this.
Yeah, can't wait to see those. But we got so Thunderchild moves on to the Heat final, and now we get Annie, Are You Okay? Versus Claws 2. And,
this is a very tactical fight.
Yeah, it was a little slow.
You guys talk about this. I'm going to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Yep. Like Annie, Are You Okay? Was getting a lot of hits in, and for a while I thought Claws 2 was going to get the victory because after those last two matches, it looked like Claws 2 was really struggling. And then Annie, Are You Okay?'s weapon just stopped. I believe they lost the belt. Was that the problem?
I believe so.
And so then the rest of the match was all Claws 2 trying to get Annie, Are You Okay? Into the pit, and almost doing so, just couldn't quite get it in. And then the match went to a judge's decision, which is a rarity for this season. And
yeah, we've only had like 2 or 3 so far, which I think is pretty impressive. It says a lot about. Well, obviously, all the knockouts were pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Even if they were just pittings, it's not like one bot just decided to die for no reason.
Yeah. The link came out. No. It was a close decision, and a part of me kind of thought Annie, Are You Okay? Would get it, but considering that their weapon died, and Claws 2, even though they were going very slowly, still managed to get some grabs in and get it over towards the pit. It sprung them the victory, and there were a couple people in the comment section who said that Annie, Are You Okay? Was robbed, but when Claws 2 was finishing up the stronger, that's when you know that they're the winners.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you're not spinning, you're not winning. So that's the disabling of the weapon. I know with some judging criteria, it's like, oh, you tanked all the hits and stopped the spinner, but that's not going to count because that was the spinner's own fault.
Yeah, but it was a close fight, and so Claws 2 gets the victory, and we get our Heat final match, which is a wedge on wedge match between Thunderchild and Claws 2. Nate, talk us through this match.
So going in, I knew that it was going to be. Well, I didn't see the Annie, Are You Okay? Fight. I just knew it was a tough. It was a judge's decision, so I just put the long forks on, and I expected it to be a very tactical fight. I wanted to be extremely careful because Claws 2 obviously has the claws. And I wanted to be really careful because the claws, if they get one good grab on me, they can just easily dump me in the pit. But I was riding off the high of knocking out Daedalus, so I felt pretty confident, but not like overconfident to the point where I could have messed something up. So I just immediately charged at him. Their forks hinged backwards, and I just kept pushing them around. They got one good claw or grapple on me, but I just was able to get out of there and just do a lot of pushing until they got him. I got him in the pit.
It was a pretty snazzy pitting. You just gave it a nice shove, and it just like slid over the floor right to the pit. I thought that was pretty cool. Otaku Nate, what'd you think of the Heat final?
I thought it was kind of a bit of a foregone conclusion because, Clause 2, it's pretty much the same robot as it was last year. And, it's not as quick or as, I don't want to say well-driven, but it's not as quick or as maneuverable as Thunderchild. Yeah. And it certainly showed in the Heat final.
It seemed like they were struggling a little bit after all the matches. But honestly, I still think Thunderchild would have gotten the victory regardless. It just has more speed and more pushing power over Clause 2. And there you go. But, again, I probably would have preferred, if the Heat final was Daedalus versus Thunderchild, but you know what? Match is a match.
I think the Spinnerproof guys said it best, that we were basically spoiled with what is essentially a grand final worthy fight in round 2 of one of the heats.
Yep.
Well, you never know. We might if Daedalus manages to get through the gauntlet of Rumbles, we could be seeing a rematch, but we don't know that. We don't know that.
It's gonna be very hard for Daedalus given its competition.
Yeah. Yep, so Thunderchild, you've made it to the grand final. Yay!
It was so strange. To be honest, I had a bit of a what's the word? A high what's the word? Not a high bar. I felt like I had a high bar that I had to go through or to go over because Captain Doom made it to the grand final after steamrolling its opponents. And I think obviously the competition has gone up, but I think I put on a pretty good show. And I think my biggest worry going into Bugglebots was that I was going to be like dollar store Captain Doom, which technically is correct because my bot costs less than a D2 kit. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of right, but it's more like, oh, Mom, do we have Captain Doom at home? Yes, son, we have. Or Mom, can we get Captain Doom? No, son, we have Captain Doom at home. At home, Thunderchild. But I think
I made one of those. I made one of those memes.
Yeah. But so far the positive reception has been good. Obviously, Captain Doom got a bit of flack because it's the infamous D2 kit, and I think obviously he's a kid, but Tyler coming off pretty cocky in his interviews, which, from my point of view, he has every right to be considering how well his bot has done and how he's an excellent driver. But I just try to stay humble. I just try to, I guess I kind of do like what Paul Ventimiglia does, where he compliments his opponent and then just completely smashes the ever living hell out of them.
Yeah, it's great. So going into the grand final, we have K2, Splody Boy, and Soul Loser, and now Thunderchild. Before, without any spoiling anything, were there any bots you were looking forward to or not looking forward to facing in the grand final?
Well, Splody Boy, I wanted to fight because it was basically going to be like Thunderchild versus Silent Spring, but with metric instead of US measurements. K2 is the one I was the most worried about because it's basically Thunderchild, but if I decided to stop being a wedge-loving weirdo and actually put an active weapon on my bot. So if I somehow disabled his weapon, he could still potentially out-push me because it's still the four-wheel drive. And then Saw Loser I knew was going to be a tough opponent because he can self-right, so he doesn't have to bounce around the arena if he gets knocked over. He just has the little arm. But I knew there was a good reason all these bots were in the grand final, so it was not going to be an easy first draw, no matter who I got.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see what happens and we'll find out who you'll be facing. But next
we got one more heat.
We got one more heat, and if you go on the Bugglebots website, they have all the bots listed for Heat 5, if you want to check it out. We got the drum spinner of Bourbon 2, the flipping wedge of Catalyst, the splody, drizzly, wetty, monsoony, stormy spinner flywheel insanity that is Drizzle. We have a wedge called J. We have Mini Spinny Mach 2, which now looks like a box with a spinner on it.
And it looks like Cobalt. It looks like Cobalt.
Yeah, Cobalt.
The original iteration of Cobalt.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have Wee Woo. And now they're both spinners.
Well, one's a spinner, one's a grabber.
Ah, yeah. I see a little grabby thing on it now. And
honestly, I think they saved the best heat for last. This heat is insane.
Just don't say anything, Nate. We want to know.
Well, I'm not going to go any further. But yeah, this heat, the Rumbles, even the Dung Beetle, and the Grand Final, everything is going to be amazing.
Yeah, just looking at this list of bots, it's like I can't even decide who is going to win this thing. Like maybe Bourbon, maybe Drizzle.
It really says something about the caliber of robots in this series compared to last season.
Yeah,
because the jump in quality is just night and day.
And I love reading the like when people like see the first heat, they're like, "Wow, this is a stacked heat." Next heat, "Wow, that's a stacked heat." Next heat, "Wow, that's another stacked heat." And just how unpredictable everything has been, and no one expecting things to go the way they actually did. That's what I love about Robot Combat. It's so unpredictable that you never know what's going to happen. It's just insane. Murphy's Law happens at the worst possible times, and sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you're not.
Can I just say one thing also? It's great that we have a former finalist that didn't go out in the first round.
Yeah, K2?
No, Clause 2.
Oh, Clause 2 as well. But it's like K2, out of all the grand finalists, hasn't... like, you look, Snappy went out in the first round.
Maximum Ogre Drive went out. Rev 4 went out.
Good lord. What is happening? But, yeah, but you know, hey, at least this means a chance for the other competitors and see if they can take out K2. And
there's an amazing parody on display here.
Yes. But, yeah, on a scale of... Oh, you want to say something, Nate?
No, I was actually going to ask, out of curiosity, who are your picks to win the whole thing? I'm not going to comment about, like, oh, wow, you're getting warmer. Like, I'm not going to
Once the final heat ends, that's when I will start picking my winners, because we have one more.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. We want no bias, and we want no. We want to be. What's the word? You're not picking sides.
Unbiased.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Unbiased. Yeah, but neutral.
Or neutral.
Yeah, neutrino. Yeah, but I can't wait to see the next heat, and I gotta say, like this has been a great series so far. Just every episode, there hasn't been a single episode I've hated of this season so far. There's definite watchability in every episode, I think.
There isn't a single bad heat this time around, which is great.
Yeah, and next heat's looking good. The grand final looks like it's going to be insanity. I can't wait to see it. So
wait, sorry, just one last thing. Can we appreciate the cold open for this episode?
Not my favorite.
Yeah, I liked. Apparently, you came up with the one for episode 2, I believe, Nate.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, there was also the one. I think it was Razor Dave Weston taking couples therapy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those cold openings are definitely great too, and. Yep. So I can't wait to see what else has got going. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give this episode a 9. How about you, Nate?
I'll give this one a 9 too.
And other Nate, what rating do you give it?
from a purely ego perspective, a 10 out of 10. I'm willing to admit I've rewatched the Daedalus fight more times than other people probably have. I have the out of the arena clip on my phone that I watch on occasion.
Nice.
So I mean, a 9 out of 10 is probably fair, but yeah, I'm gonna go 9 out of 10.
Awesome. Yep, so that pretty much covers Heat 4 of Bugglebots 2019. Anything else to say? Any shout-outs, any plugs?
No, shout out to Bugglebots, shout out to the entire crew who worked their butts off entirely for free out of their own. They did everything out of their own pocket. They deserve all the respect you can give them, and more, if possible.
Nice. Yep, and we'll be seeing you in the grand final again, Nate. Hopefully, you'll be joining us for that review as well.
Oh yeah, I should be able to.
All right, awesome, and then we'll see what happens from there. Next week, we'll see the return of Drizzle and Mini Spinny and whatnot. Maybe we'll get Tommy on. Who knows? We'll work on it. But yeah, until next time, I'm the Hardcore Kid.
I'm Otaku Nate.
I'm Nate, but not. I'm the other Nate.
Peace out, and it's Bugglebots time.
When you don't pay your debts, I'm what you get.